Welcome back to the Neutral Zone. Today we're going to be covering the Oklahoma Sooners as we continue along with our 2024 college football preview series. As always, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, join the community. We do these previews every other day. We're going to continue along with these until we hit the football season, which then we're going to go live, talk football every day, and it's fun. Kind of debating, discussing football with everybody, fans of the game, fans of different teams. It's always fun. Also, like the video, comment down below what you think of our takes. Comment down below also what teams you guys want us to preview. With that being said, let's kind of recap our prediction for Oklahoma last year. And again, just to kind of give perspective on these videos, some of the videos we're going to have game-by-game breakdowns because we did that last year. Oklahoma was one of the very first previews you did, and we didn't do a game-by-game breakdown. We just kind of did a vague prediction. I said 9-3 or 10-2. My dad said 8-4, 9-3. Again, you can go back and watch these videos so you know that we're not, making this up. But Oklahoma was one of our most viewed videos on the channel, actually. So we're hoping we see what's his name? Chicken. His name is like Chicken. He's a big Oklahoma fan. I see him on all Oklahoma videos on YouTube.
What up, Chicken? Shout
out to Chicken. He's gonna be in the comment section of this video. If he's not a real Oklahoma fan. But Dad, how do you feel about Oklahoma in their season last year?
I think when you look at these predictions, what you really take from this is we thought that Brent Venables would kind of fill out this Oklahoma coaching job a little bit better. If you remember the year before, he went 6-7. So this jump, and again to 10-2, was a big jump. Now, obviously concerning, and we'll talk about this as we talk about this year, but a lot of that was on the back of Dylan Gabriel, a quarterback who went for over 3,600 yards, 30 touchdowns, 70% completion percentage. So we'll see if he can keep that up with Jackson Arnold. But we saw a big jump. I think people had some doubts about Brent Venables being a head coach, obviously the defensive coordinator for Clemson for so long. But we saw that this guy can coach, and he can coach at a high level. Again, a couple losses is not necessarily, I think Oklahoma really fashions themselves as somebody who will be in the national championship picture every year. But a big jump from the 2022 season. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I was ecstatic with their season last year, and I'm not an Oklahoma fan. I'm a Clemson fan. Obviously, I love Brent Venables. He did my Tigers well, for a decade, damn near. So I like the guy a lot. I think he's succeeding as a head coach. Obviously, the first year, there's a lot of talks about him. Can he be a head coach, or is he just a assistant type of guy? I think he silenced those critics really quick. You had 2 losses on the road by, 1 possession, 5-point loss, 3-point loss. You're undefeated at home. And I think Dylan Gabriel's banged up throughout the year. He was able to still get wins. Obviously, the Texas win was big because Texas went, to the playoffs. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Oklahoma State won in the last week or something to keep Oklahoma out of the Big 12 title game. It was some weird situation. I wanted to see that Red River rivalry again in the Big 12 title game. I wanted that game bad. I probably would have favored Texas, but I wanted to see that game a lot. Because I think if Oklahoma had won that game, we could have seen Oklahoma in the playoffs. So it's very interesting to kind of see how quickly things can change. I think Oklahoma moving to the SEC is going to be very tough for them, though. I personally don't think the transition is going to be smooth for them in year one. We talked about this with USC moving to the Big Ten as well. But I think Brent Venables is, quote unquote, succeeding as a head coach right now based on the cards he was handed. I think, early in the 6-6 season, he had a lot of transfer outs. Moving over to USC with Lincoln Riley. So we have to use context and take that into account. Obviously, you lose the bowl game to Noah Fafita in Arizona. Dylan Gabriel sat out. Jackson Arnold played absolutely terrible.
Did not play well,
yeah. I think he threw 4 picks, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know what other opt-outs they had, so I don't want to knock the kid too much for that because now he's going to have an entire offseason to get in the starter reps, number 1 reps. So I'm hoping that, he plays a lot better. If you guys didn't see, I'm sure a good majority of our subscribers have been in tune with the college football video game that's coming out. They showed Jackson Arnold on that damn trailer 5 times.
Well, they had him, I think, the wrong skin color, didn't they? Yeah, Jackson Arnold is a black guy.
Yeah, so they showed him a lot on there. And we have some news coming out for the college football game as well. We have a league starting and stuff, so we'll probably get a lot of information out to you guys for that too. But let's get right into their additions, their losses. Obviously, Dylan Gabriel is the biggest one. But I think what also goes hand in hand with that is this offensive line is going to be completely different. So what is your takeaway on looking at, their transfer portal, their class, the draftees, just in totality, their new roster?
Yeah, the concern, like you said, is the offensive line. But also, I think I don't think it could be understated how much Dylan Gabriel meant to this team. Now, not to knock Jackson Arnold, I think he was a 5-star recruit coming in. Like you mentioned, had not a great game against Arizona. It was 3 interceptions, but threw 3 interceptions in that game, so didn't look great. But you're talking about the difference between a month of training versus months of training. So hopefully, he can untap some of that potential. They are bringing back some talent, so I don't want to make it seem like they are not bringing back talent. And they have talent kind of littered throughout this entire team. We talked about Gavin Sawchuk, their leading running back coming back, went for over 740 yards last year. And again, I think they're going to lean on him even more heavily this year. Outside of Drake Stoops, who was their number 1 receiver last year, they're bringing back their 2, 3, and 4. So they're bringing back Nick Anderson, who was their 2 receiver, almost at about 800 yards, receiving 10 touchdowns. They're bringing back Jalil Farouk and Andrell Anthony. So they're bringing back a good portion of that receiving core. And just based off of star talent, what we saw in high school, Jackson Arnold should take a major leap because I believe the talent is there. Now, like I do not want this to go understated. Losing almost your entire offensive line is a very big deal. It is a very big deal, especially when you have a young quarterback. But they did bring in a bunch of players from the transfer portal. So Hatchet, Hickman, I don't know how you say the right guard's name, and Jake Roberts all coming over. But my concern with that is offensive lines, I think, is less about individual skill and more about cohesion. So can you bring in 4 players from the transfer portal to start on your offensive line and that mesh, especially when you're playing teams in the SEC? We saw that last year in Colorado, and obviously not the SEC, but didn't seem to work for Colorado. Will it work for Oklahoma? Now, again, you're talking about different players, absolutely, but you're still talking about possibly, I said 4, I'm sorry, 3 starters that you're bringing over from the transfer portal. Can you do that and have cohesion on that offensive line? Will they work as a unit? Obviously, they have some months. Literally the entire center of that offensive line, both guards and the center, are going to be transfer portal players. With a young quarterback. If this was Dylan Gabriel coming back, I'd probably have less concern with that much turnover at the offensive line. But with Jackson Arnold really getting his first opportunities to start, and obviously, again, he did start the Arizona game, but start in totality, I'm a little concerned about that. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think cohesion and kind of chemistry, you hit the nail right on the head. Obviously, Hatchet comes over from Washington, and the Washington offensive line won the award for best offensive line unit in college football. He was rotating there, though. I don't think he was a starter the entire year, but he did rotate in and out of the offensive line. And I think you also hit the nail on the head when you talked about Dylan Gabriel. If it was him here, I wouldn't be concerned. But the fact that we have a young quarterback who doesn't have an entire year of experience at the collegiate level, and the small sample size we do have, he didn't play his best. I don't think you can just blindly go into the season assuming that he's going to perform with a brand new offensive line. Now, on the flip side, I don't want to be ultra negative about this team because I think Oklahoma, and this might be a hot take, but I think Oklahoma with Brent Venables could be the best defense in college football this year. They bring back a lot on the defensive side of the football.
They do.
And in my opinion, Brent Venables is the best defensive coach in college football. And I could be biased because I'm a Clemson guy, but we saw what he built from Clemson, and we saw now what he's doing in Oklahoma. He had a top 10 recruiting class, so he's able to recruit as well. He brings in David Stone. I think he was a top 15 player on the defensive line. He has 1 5-star, 19 4-star recruits, so he's able to recruit as well at a high level. So it's not like he's just coming with the fruits of the labor that Lincoln Riley brought over when he was recruiting. These are Brent Venables guys that he's bringing in. So I do think that he is trending in the right direction from 6-6 to 10-2. I don't think he's going to be 12-0 this year, but I think he's trending in the right direction. I do think there's going to be a hiccup the first year in the SEC because it's the SEC. It is far better than the Big 12. So I do expect some sort of regression to a sense. But I think he's doing a good job as a second, third year head coach in college football. Obviously, Oklahoma has a rich history. They're a historic program. They're a blue blood. So they're expected to be in the playoffs. They're expected to be national championship contenders. And the first 2 years, he wasn't able to do that. But with the jump that he made after year one, I think Oklahoma fans are kind of starting to realize like he could be the, you know, the future of our program. Obviously, they had Stoops for a while. Lincoln Riley had his little, you know, tenure there. But I think Brent Venables could be a 10 to 20-year guy here, depending on what kind of you know, success he has in the SEC, because the SEC is a different monster. But I do like what they're bringing back I think they're going to have one of the best linebacking cores in college football. I mean, I know we talked about Clemson's linebacking core. I know we talked about Georgia's. I think Oklahoma's going to have a great linebacking core. They bring back a lot in the secondary as well. But again, defense can only take you so far. And I know I keep bringing up Clemson, but we saw that last year with Clemson. They had a great defense, top 10 defense, and the offense was piss poor. Couldn't move the ball on anyone, and they lost 4 games in the regular season. I think if Jackson Arnold is not able to move the ball with this, you know, newly put together offensive line and with the newly put together, you know, skill positions, you know, you bring in Deion Burks from Purdue, who we think is going to be great. And then you bring over Sam Franklin, obviously, Bauer Sharp from Southeast Louisiana, that's a smaller school, so we don't know what he's going to pan out. But a lot of the players are bringing in are from smaller schools, and I just don't know if I can trust that with a young quarterback. I think if, like you said, it all boils down to and comes back to the fact that if Dylan Gabriel was still in this offense, I think Oklahoma may be a favorite in the SEC. And when I say favorite, there's a bunch of them. There's Georgia, you know, there's Mizzou.
In that conversation.
Yeah, they'd be in the conversation. But I truly think because Jackson Arnold is so inexperienced and so much younger, and the offensive line has so many question marks, Oklahoma's not really getting a fair shake. I mean, they're not really getting the attention, I would say, in the SEC. But let's move on to the next slide, and we can kind of go over the predictions. So we both had the same ceiling. I had a lower floor, and I saw your list 45 minutes ago.
Okay.
Before my final prediction is 75, yours 8-4. Obviously, the only game we have different is I think they're going to lose to LSU, and you think they're going to beat LSU on the road. I want to know, how did you come up with your floor? What are the 6 games that you have them guaranteed to win? Because when I looked at that, I was like, wait a minute, that's kind of crazy to me. So what 6 games do you feel like they are guaranteed to win?
And again, I want you to remember that we're talking about a very good defense.
Okay.
Right? So I am taking the first 3 games, Temple, Houston, Tulane.
Okay.
I do not think Auburn's good. I do not think South Carolina's good. And I do not think Maine is good.
So we need to find one. That's only 5.
That's 6. The first 3 games, Auburn, South Carolina, Maine. That's 6.
Oh, so you're saying you don't think Auburn can beat them at Auburn?
No, I think Auburn is not good. And I know the Auburn fans, I see you guys in the comments.
Now listen.
I don't think Auburn's going to be.
So you would be surprised. You would be shocked if Auburn won at home against this Oklahoma.
I don't think that Auburn team is good at all. I think they are.
What did you have their record as?
I can't remember. Hold on.
Because I think you had them 7-5.
7-5 isn't great.
But I mean, it's only 1 game less than 8-4. So if they're not good at all, what is Oklahoma?
Well, I mean, I think Oklahoma.
Okay, wait, okay. Here,
that's my 6.
If you had to come up with a spread right now for the game, what would your spread be? Because I mean, I have them. We both have them beating.
And again, let's remember that Oklahoma defense is going to be nasty.
They are. So what would the spread be for you? And again, I agree with you. I think they're going to beat Auburn, but I think
I would say low double digits. I'd say 10.
You think Auburn's going to be a 10-point favorite against Oklahoma?
Let me say
crazy.
This. I think Oklahoma is going to win that game by more than 10 points. I'm not saying this is what the bettors are going to have to spread it. I'm saying I think Oklahoma is going to win that game by more than 10 points.
I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't be surprised if coming into this game, Auburn was the favorite.
I'd be shocked.
You know why? Because I think Auburn's going to be undefeated heading into that game.
I don't think they're going to have a big win, though. So this is why. Okay,
but I think home field advantage matters, and this is Oklahoma's first test in an SEC environment.
I know because in an SEC environment,
yes,
but they're coming off of, and again, assuming this goes exactly how we have it, they're coming off of possibly beating Tennessee. If they beat Tennessee, I think they're definitely going to be a favorite.
And wait,
this defense is very, very good.
Let me clarify though as well. I have Oklahoma beating Auburn. I just don't think it's unrealistic to think Auburn would beat them. That's the only, because when I made my floor, I said the only guaranteed wins were Maine, South Carolina, Temple, Houston, Tulane. I think the rest of the games are all toss-ups. And that's why I put my floor at 5-7. But then when I saw your floor at 6-6.
What was Auburn last year? 4-8?
Yeah. But Auburn
let's not act like Auburn was good last year.
They weren't, but Auburn also got a lot better. And I also think we have to look at Auburn's losses. They were in the game against Georgia, and they were in the game against Alabama.
Alabama, yes.
So and I think both of those teams were better than Oklahoma. And you have to look at them. And then again, they're at home in this game.
We'll see. We'll see.
I don't know. And I'm assuming this is not going to be Auburn's first, home game, but I think this is going to be their first home game of note.
I know we already covered them. I don't think Auburn is going to win that game. I
don't think they are either. So again, I'm looking obviously. So they play Alabama A&M.
So I predicted Auburn 6-6.
Yeah, and I have them 8-4. So Oklahoma is their first test because I'm going to consider Arkansas a test, and Oklahoma would be their fifth home. Yeah, 5 home games in a row. Their 5th home game, but that is their first home game. That's like, okay, this team can beat us. So I think would you consider Auburn a top 10 stadium, like environment in college football? I would say it's borderline top 10.
Yeah. It is a very good environment.
I think it's going to be rocking. I think you're not giving Auburn the credit they deserve.
I believe Auburn's just not. So the environment, cool. The environment only lasts as long as to the point where you start losing.
And let me
the environment stays rocking if you.
I think you also made this floor thinking about Dylan Gabriel. I think that's what it is, because you got to remember this is going to be Jackson Arnold's first road game.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And again, I'm not picking Auburn.
That in that type of environment, yes. Yeah,
I think it's going to be crazy, but I do think Oklahoma's going to win the game. So I just want to make sure that's noted as well. I do think Oklahoma's a better team.
But I think that Oklahoma defense is nasty.
I agree, and
I think we sometimes don't give enough credit to defenses. This defense is bringing back just about everybody from a team that went 10-2 last year.
And Peyton Thorne did struggle, and I think that played a part in why. Again, before we even did the Oklahoma preview, that's why I picked Auburn to lose this game. Was because of the fact that Peyton Thorne did struggle. They had to literally run the ball, and I don't think you can do that against Brent Venables' defense.
I know Auburn fans are going to be Auburn fans. We can bet some push-ups.
No, I don't think
they're going to win by 10.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of. I don't think they're going to win by 10. I think the game's going to be close.
10.
I think the game is going to be. I think it's going to be one of those.
Put me on record. 10.
Honestly, I don't know what other games are on this slate this week, but I kind of hope this is the game day game. Based on what we've done so far, we've obviously only done like 7 or 8 videos, and I hope this is the game day game because I feel like Auburn doesn't get game day games outside of the Alabama game. I don't think
Auburn's going to be good. I don't think this is going to be the game day game. I'd be shocked if it is.
I would have to see again. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head what games are in week 5.
Let me see if I can pull it up real fast.
But I do have them going 7-5, losing to Texas, Ole Miss, Mizzou, Alabama, LSU. And I do think their ceiling is.
You have them you have them as a worse record. Oh, but you. No, you have them as a worse record than me. So you don't believe in them at all.
Who, Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Well, it's not that I don't believe in them. I favor the other 5 teams I have over them. That's all. Like, I don't think they can go into Death Valley and win that game. Like I said, I think home field advantage matters. And I think LSU quite literally has the number 1 best home field advantage in college football. So I think the fact that even though LSU is losing a lot of talent, I think the stadium and the environment itself is going to be a problem for Jackson Arnold. Now, we're talking about game 12. So this may be Jackson Arnold, supremely polished, and he may be in the Heisman conversation. We don't know. But, I mean, as of right now, I favor LSU's home field advantage over a team like Oklahoma, whose offensive line is going to be completely different, and they have a brand new quarterback. So I just favor LSU in that matchup a little bit more. So that's the only game that we have different.
That week is the same week as the Alabama-Georgia game, so I don't think
it's not going to be a game of the week then, or college game day. But, yeah, that's the only game we disagreed on was the LSU game, which, I mean, I think it can go either way. Obviously, LSU's losing a lot as well, and we'll recap them soon. But let us know in the comment section what you guys think of Oklahoma. We're probably going to get a lot of Oklahoma fans in this video. This is I'm
riding with y'all, Oklahoma.
This is actually you have them 8-4. You're not riding.
I think it's going to go the other way. I think Oklahoma fans are going to believe that they can win some of these other games. Right now, the 4 games I have them losing.
Wait. That's obvious, though. Come on. Like, anytime we make a video, there is a select few amount of fans that say, yeah, we're going 8-4. Yeah, we're going 9-3. Most of the time, it's do your research. We're going 11-1 or 12-0. And again, this is no knock to Oklahoma because I love Brent Venables. I had them going 11-1, 12-0 last year. I want this team to succeed. If you told me what do I want them to be, I want them to go 11-1
Yeah,
or 12-0.
yeah, Mike. The tough part for me is it. I think this team has all the talent in the world. I think they have the talent to win any of these games outside of one. Hence why I have them 11-1. The problem is they just have a tough, ridiculous schedule. This is a very tough schedule, especially if you throw in
gauntlet.
If you throw in the Tennessee game as a losable game, if you throw in Auburn, as you're saying, is a losable game, South Carolina's no pushover. Like I said, if I go down and I go LSU is no pushover. This is a hellacious schedule. So my 8-4 isn't I'm not riding with Oklahoma. Well, I'm not an Oklahoma fan, but it's more that this is a tough schedule with a first-year quarterback. Yes, they're bringing back a lot, but this is a tough schedule.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the SEC, you play every tough team outside of Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, because Tennessee, Ole Miss, Alabama, and Missouri, they are 4 of the 5 teams with the best odds to win the SEC. The only team you're not playing is Georgia. So you're playing 4 of the top 5 best teams according to odds makers that are in the SEC, and you play 4 or 5 of them. So I don't think Oklahoma is built to win, majority of those games. And that's just me being completely honest. If we're talking about last year's Oklahoma team, we're talking about a different team. So I think a lot of people have to get that picture of Dillon Gabriel out of their mindset, because again, this is not Dillon Gabriel and Tyler Guyton and these guys. This is a brand new offensive line, a brand new quarterback. So we just got to wait and see. Obviously, the defense is going to be really good this year. Hopefully, they're good enough to get some stops in critical moments. But Oklahoma fans and college football fans, please let us know in the comment section what you guys think of this preview, our takes. Also, let us know what teams you guys want us to see. We're going to continue to do these until the season starts. And again, as always, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single upload. We will see you guys in 2 days. Peace out.
Peace.